Spider-Man isn't a hero. He's a $100 million insurance liability. We've been lied to for 20 years. We thought the train scene from Spider-Man 2 was a miracle. But
who is Spider-Man? He's a criminal, that's who he is. A vigilante, a public menace.
Jonah Jameson wasn't a hater. He was an actuator, and he's looking at the same numbers I'm looking at right now. Let's look at the evidence. Doc Ock disables the brakes on a 6-car R143 subway train. A single R143 car has a mass of 33,000 kilograms. With 6 cars and a standing room only crowd of passengers, we're looking at roughly 230,000 kilograms of runaway steel. The speedometer says 80 miles per hour, and that's about 36 meters per second. Peter Parker tries to stop the momentum using his feet at first, until he finally resorts to his webs. It takes him roughly 46 seconds to bring the train to a full stop. To decelerate 230 metric tons from 80 miles per hour to 0 in that time frame requires a constant force of 200,000 newtons. Spider-Man's silk is actually strong enough to handle this. It has a Young's modulus of about 3.12 gigapascals, which is roughly equivalent to the strongest spider silk on Earth. So the web didn't break, but the buildings he attached them to, on the other hand, did. This is where Jameson's menace argument becomes a legal reality. Spider-Man attaches over a dozen webs to surrounding architecture, but look carefully at what he's anchoring on. These are brick facets and decorative gargoyles. Masonry is incredible at compression, so holding things up, but is famously terrible with shear strength, so holding things essentially sideways. And to stop that train, Spider-Man is tugging on these buildings with essentially 22 tons of sideways force. I mean, look at the footage. He isn't just anchoring himself on these buildings. He is filleting the city of New York.
The kid, you're no hero.
He is pulling thousands of pounds of masonry off the walls and onto the streets below. So if you're walking your dog on 2nd Avenue, you don't care about the fact that Spider-Man stopped the train. In fact, you don't care about the train at all. But you do care about the 2-ton gargoyle that Spider-Man just hurled at your face. And what about the people on the train? Now, you might think stopping in 46 seconds is relatively gentle, but the force is not distributed evenly. At the peak of that stop, Peter is creating a human sling effect. If the train stops harshly at the end, like it does, the G-forces on those passengers would be enough for severe whiplash, concussions, and likely internal bleeding. He didn't save them. He gave them all a lifetime of physical therapy and a very strong case for a class action lawsuit. Peter Parker is a vigilante who uses the city's infrastructure as a personal gym. He uses the West Side Line as a personal resistance band. And guess what? The taxpayers are the ones who have to buy the new bricks. Jonah Jameson was the only person in New York looking at the final balance sheet. He was the only one who didn't want to pay for every brick that Spider-Man tore off every building. Spider-Man is a menace, and the math proves it. If you think he's expensive, take a look at my Ant-Man video, where Ant-Man becomes a black hole and destroys his entire city. I think that's a little bit more expensive than a train.